coverage. I know a few teams. It's funny, I just left the AFCA and we were talking. If you're ever down at the AFCA and you're a high school coach, I'll give you a little hint. Every Monday, the first Monday, most of the defensive back coaches, we call it our DB symposium. It's kind of an impromptu, talk football, talk technique, talk a little bit of schemes. So if you're down that way next year, it would be something to be alert of. You see a gathering of all secondary coaches, phenomenal thing. I found a number of different schools are actually running this coverage, so it's kind of caught on. So we call it robber coverage, okay? It's real simple, okay? It's what I call account coverage, okay? And what I mean by that is the corners stay on their sides. It's not a match coverage where they would go over and match up on the receivers, okay? And I'll leave this up here for a while and we'll talk it through, but these are the base rules, okay? Cornerbacks, okay? Basically, you're man-to-man on number one, okay? You're man-to-man on number one. Your alignment can be inside press or inside catch based on split. And when we're talking press technique and you're teaching press technique, it's important that you let the corners know it's a little more inside leverage than it would be up the field. So if we were up the field and pressing, we would be outside eye to inside eye or foot to crotch. Down here in the red zone, we're going to line outside shoulder to the receiver's inside shoulder. So we are definitely denying the inside release by alignment, okay? If you're playing catch technique, the rule is you're half the distance from the goal line. So if we were on the 12-yard line, our corners were lying inside and on the 6-yard line. And as it gets tighter, obviously you get tighter. Once you get inside the 5-yard line, you're basically going to turn in the press anyway. But it's a way that if you have a size disadvantage, meaning a bigger receiver versus a corner, you can play some catch technique to help with some of those things and use your quickness. Again, the footwork for the corner is the same that it would be in press. So you're going to be in a square stance, and you're going to be working horizontally. I call it step and replace. You might hear it called shuffle mirror, but you're not in a split stance, and you're definitely by no means to backpedal down here. Versus a dead side or a tight end, you can go anywhere from 5x3 to 4x3 alignment. You want to make sure you can leverage the formation, okay? The base rules for the corners are any run two, your man-to-man, your secondary run support. If you're on the tight end side, you are force, okay? So it is called what I call shuffle and attach technique. Versus a tight end on run away, you're closing down to the hip and you're the cutback player. The pass responsibilities, okay, man-to-man on the receiver, eliminate the slant to the fade, okay? So by no means, and really the biggest coaching point I give these guys is when a receiver sees you in heavy inside alignment, they're going to try to outside stem you to get you to move your feet to beat you back across the face. So the coaching point that I use, I tell our guys, first of all, your hands first, meaning literally I say reach out and grab them, okay? And what that does, it puts the corner in the trail position, and that's where we want to be in the red zone coverage. We want to be underneath the routes in between the receiver and the ball, okay? Hands first also allows them to be more aggressive. You can go with two hands down here. That's not a problem, okay? And what we tell them is to be patient on outside releases, so patient away and urgent to your leverage. So if I'm getting an outside release, I don't want to be in a big hurry to try to beat him across his face because then he'll come back underneath me and the slant will be wide open. If he's running a slant, I want to be heavy inside and urgent with my feet and flatten out the route and stay in front of the slant. Not really worried about sluggos down here, so you can be a little more aggressive, okay? The other rule is if you're getting a shallow route and it's coming hard and inside away, as you start to squeeze, you have the ability to squeeze it to our zone defenders, and you see that picture. As we go, excuse me. Any cut split or tight split, meaning if the ball's on a hash and you're getting the receiver close to the hash, we would go ahead and go outside leverage on that alignment. Okay, coaching points. If threat of the fade on a normal split, you can work outside to cut it off to force the receiver back inside. Always be aware of your help. You're going to gain help somewhere. and it's usually going to be, you got to squeeze routes close to the hash to get it, okay? If you have a super wide split and you know you can't get your receiver to that hash mark landmark, you got to play hard inside and you got to cut off all routes, okay? Pass off inside routes, not climbing or threatening, meaning they're running shallow and across the formation. You can pass those routes off to the underneath defenders. And versus boots, you got to carry all crossers because we will lose our linebackers in the play action game, okay? Now for the safeties, their same rule applies, okay? The difference is they're going to line 5 yards, basically a yard behind linebacker depth, and we call that levels. Corners, safeties always have to be on different levels. Safety has to be on a different level than the linebacker to avoid pick routes or getting 2 for 1, okay? If you're versus a tight end, you're going to be 5 yards off, 1 to 3 yards outside, depending on where we are on the field. If you have a lot of field outside of you, you might be a little wider, okay? If you're versus a receiver, you're lying outside eye to outside shoulder. It says head up. There are occasions on a wide split we would go head up and man-to-man that, okay? Same rules apply if you get a tight split by a number 2 receiver. You can be a little more outside. So the only time we would really go head up is if it was a real wide split outside the hash and you couldn't squeeze it to the linebackers underneath. Okay. Versus run, you're a primary force guy, so nothing gets outside of you. Versus run away, you're a cutback player based on the formation. There are 2 calls that the safeties will make, and please put this in your notes. Versus a 2-by-2 call, they're going to make a sting call. And what that does is it alerts the linebackers that I'm going to take number 2 vertical and I'm going to take number 2 outside. Okay? The other call is called a flow call, and that is versus a 3-by-1 set where we bring our safety over to the 3 receiver side and we bump our backers opposite. So those are the only 2 calls the safeties have to make in base formation. So 2-by-2 sting, 3-by-1 flow. Okay, the rules: sit with depth. Okay, and the key is don't back up, get hands on the receivers. Okay, we want to flatten and squeeze the route, so we want to basically get our hands on and turn the receiver's shoulders. Okay, same rules apply to the safeties as in the corners. You may lose the backers for a split second on play action. So basically, when you get play action, it becomes outside man, and eventually the backers will come in and get underneath the routes. But the big problem route is the backside crosser and boot. You got to carry that as far as you know until it hits someone, or the linebackers put their hands on the route. Then you can step away. So those are big coaching points. Okay, Sam and Wolf are outside backers. Okay. Align to execute, and I'll go through a count. Alignment of this is as easy as counting to 3 for the backs, not really backs 5. Okay, the corners are on their own. For the safeties and linebackers, it's all a number system, all a count system. Okay, outside backers are going to line inside of number 2. Okay, and they are going to work off of 2 and 3 combinations. Okay, any route that goes outside to the safety, that outside backer becomes a free robber player. Any shallow route that comes to him, he picks up the route. The safety now will become the robber. Okay. The Mike backer, when we say align to execute, gives you flexibility in your alignment, but he is a line on 3 player. He is man-to-man on number 3. No number 3 or 3 is away or to the flat. He now becomes the middle robber or post player. So linebacker rules are really simple. When we put this in, we tell them to play run first, step out and play pass, because it's going to declare. Okay, so it allows your 3 backers to play run, and versus a 1-back set, you get seven run defenders. It's pretty solid. Okay, big coaching point, and you have to tell your backers this. Okay, there are 2 things. Okay. First of all, never avoid a pick route. Okay, do not avoid pick routes. Actually run through them, and we put your hands on them. The coaching point is, and the Wiley veterans will get real good at this, and we have to remind them. They start avoiding routes because the rule is if you touch the route, you take it. So if I'm running and there's a pick route between number 2 and number 3, and I run into 2, I put my hands on them, I take them man-to-man. The pure timing of running into the route, the quarterback is off that read right now and he's going somewhere else. They don't have a lot of time. They don't take a lot of time to scan down in the red zone. Most throws are quick. You don't get a lot of max protection down the field throws because it's a horizontal field. Okay, for the Mike backer, you want a vision point through the quarterback draw. Okay, through the draw point, and so because he is man-to-man on 3, once you clear the draw point and 3 is not releasing, you just got to hover over top, and the longer the quarterback holds the ball, the deeper into the end zone the Mike backer can go. Never deeper than 5. Never deeper than 5 yards in the end zone. Big coaching point, okay? And as he's dropping, he's scrambling. He's looking for slant to dig the post, okay? And then he's also alerting for draw and scramble.